The most anticipated showdown between David Benavidez and David Morell has finally wrapped up, and pros have some amazing reactions and predictions.
Morell's a hell of a fighter, Benavidez hell of a fighter, and you know, proud of both guys going in there, giving the fans, you know, a big fight. That's what it's about. The best fighting the best. You know, two guys who don't like each other, they get in there, they settle like men. What more could you ask for?
It's interesting because one of Morell's cornermen, Bob Santos, told me yesterday in the media room, if David can keep the fight right in front of him within a tight range, if he can have a straight-on angle to go at Benavidez and try to catch him with quick shots upstairs, he'll have a chance to win the fight. And I think that in the late rounds, you could see that that was good thinking. But what he didn't have was any way of defending effectively against Benavidez's roundhouse shots upstairs and to the body.
Yeah, bro, it was easier than I thought, to be honest with you. I thought it was going to be tougher. I thought it was going to be tougher to hit. He was tough to fucking knock down and knock out. You know, I had him hurt a lot of times, but I just had to go back to the drawing board.
Hey, man, it was a good fight, man, especially like the last two rounds were really good into like the early rounds, you know? I mean, bro, Benavidez's pressure was strong, man. Good fight, real good fight.
Yeah, of course, Canelo's not going to want to fight. Canelo didn't want to fight Boo Boo. He didn't want to fight David Morell. He doesn't want to face nobody. The only fighters that Canelo Alvarez wants to see fight is either too old or too young that don't have experience. Those are the only ones. He would not face the Mexican monster. I gotta go watch it. In my opinion, I was turning around. I think it was more like off balance. But that's exciting, when somebody, David's fucking winning the whole fight. Then he kind of gets dropped. It's exciting. People are like, whoa, shit. If I was watching home, I'd be like, damn. And then I look at him and he's fucking standing up, smiling, like, come on, motherfucker. Shit, I got scared. So I think Morell's like, what the fuck? So I think these are the kind of fights that the fans deserve. They want to be entertained.
Benavidez, yeah, he won it by decision. And then, that one knockdown, that was a knockdown. Then he had that point deducted, Morell did. So it came out to a 9-8 round, so it's not going to affect him much.
We'll see. Hey, Daz, Alicia, what y'all think of the fight? What it do? It was amazing. I think it was amazing.
What do you think of the fight?
I think it was amazing.
It's always good. What do you think? I think I would love to see a rematch.
He called me a thief. He called me a thief, man. And I'm back in city. Are you a thief? Huh? Hey, I wish I could trade checks with you guys. I wish I could trade checks with both of you.
Oh, let's bring them.
All right, I would never see again. I would never see.
No, pues me siento súper contento con el trabajo realizado. No salió como teníamos pensado, se preparó bien. Como siempre se ha dicho, solamente un David se trae victorioso. En este momento fue él. Felicidades para él y para su equipo de trabajo. Y nada, simplemente seguir trabajando, seguir esforzándonos más y para obtener la victoria en un futuro cercano. Me tardé un poco me tardé en reaccionar. Me tardé en reaccionar y creo que ese fue uno de los errores que cometí en este combate, pero nada, simplemente sucedió. Fue cuando básicamente mejor me sentí los últimos 3 rounds y pero demasiado tarde.
Benavidez is a monster. I fuck with Benavidez.
Who would you like to see him fight next?
Huh?
Who would you like to see him fight next?
Canelo, Benavidez. Both of them.
Before the fight, Eddie Hearn praised David Benavidez for his bravery in accepting the tough challenge of fighting David Morell, acknowledging Morell's high status in the sport. He noted that Benavidez didn't need to take on this fight, but admired his confidence and determination to prove himself. Hearn viewed Benavidez's choice as a display of genuine courage and a commitment to giving fans exciting matchups. He hoped other fighters would follow Benavidez's lead and take on similarly difficult opponents.
Listen, I'll give massive props to Benavidez because I've rated Morell very highly for a long time. In Los Angeles, I got to watch him up close and I really wasn't impressed with what I saw, but I just think he had an off night. He's a very good fighter and Benavidez really doesn't need to be taking that fight, but he is. So listen, big respect to David Benavidez. That's a great fight, and we want to see great fights. I hope there's more fighters like David Benavidez that said, no, I'll back myself. I don't give a fuck about Morell. I know everyone rates him and he's this Cuban killer. I'll beat him. Get me in with him. Fair play. Well done, David Benavidez.
Robert Garcia discussed the clash between David Benavidez and David Morell, calling it a must-watch showdown. He emphasized that this was the kind of matchup fans craved. Garcia pointed out that while both fighters were moving up in weight for bigger opportunities, this bout was exactly what boxing needed. He remarked that there weren't many significant names in lighter divisions like 115 and 118 pounds, making this battle at a higher weight class crucial for the sport.
How does that fight go?
It's gonna be sick. See, those are the fights that need to happen, man. Those are the fights that the world wants to see. You know, I was talking about Bam, but there's no big names for Bam at 115. 118, maybe a couple. 122, maybe one day, 3 years from now.
Garcia also shared his thoughts on how the fight might unfold, admitting it was hard to choose a winner. Both fighters possessed exceptional power and aggression, making the contest thrilling. While Garcia had respect for Morell's abilities, he ultimately favored Benavidez, calling him the likely winner. Regardless of the outcome, Garcia was excited about the fight, believing it would demonstrate that the biggest matchups were what the boxing world truly wanted.
But Benavidez, you know, and Morell, they both move up to a division where they're chasing the big fights and now they're fighting each other. That's just fucking badass, man. That's gonna be a sick fight.
Ronnie Shields expressed his strong belief that Morell was going to knock out Benavidez. He didn't specify when exactly it would happen, or did he seem to care about the timing. He just had a gut feeling that Morell would get the knockout. It was a confident prediction from Shields, based on his instincts.
What's the feeling in your gut, how this fight's going to play out, how it's going to go down?
I really truly believe Morell's going to knock him out. You know, don't know when, don't care when. You know, I just feel, that's my gut feeling that we knock him out.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Thank you.
Fraser Clark was excited about the showdown between Benavidez and Morell, calling it an intriguing clash he'd love to witness live. He hadn't started training yet, but was considering attending. Clark was continually impressed by Benavidez's skills, and had heard from someone who trained with him a few years ago that Benavidez was a standout fighter. While he acknowledged the skills of both men, Clark believed Benavidez held the advantage.
You know. And, you know, saying that we're still in January, I'm not going into camp yet. I might have to make an appearance for that one. That's going to be a bolter. I think Benavidez, just because every time I watch him, I get more impressed with him. Do you know what I mean? And then I spoke to someone who was in the gym with him a few years ago and just said he's just a different animal. But saying that,
Carl Frampton praised the fight, calling it a fantastic matchup and underscoring how exciting it was for the sport. He mentioned that boxing was thriving with so many big events, and he was confident Benavidez would emerge as the favorite heading into the fight.
Great fight as well, really, really good fight. It's great to see this, isn't it? I mean, boxing's flat at the minute, but I really, really rate Benavidez. Hard to look past him, that one for me.
Caleb Plant reflected on the clash between Benavidez and Morell, noting how the fight was compelling due to their contrasting styles. He highlighted Benavidez's aggressive nature and excellent combination punching, while Morell, though also talented, was more crafty and passive in his approach. Plant saw the potential for an exciting matchup and was eager to see how it played out.
That's a big fight. You know, their styles are different. Southpaw, right-handed, you know, one puts their punches together very well, and so does David Morell, but he's a little more crafty. Well, he's a little more maybe passive in his approach. You know, I'll say that. And but that's a big fight. You know, that's one I'm excited for. So.
Dave Coldwell referred to the Benavidez versus Morell fight as a potential hidden classic, encouraging fans to explore Morell's previous fights. He praised both fighters for excelling at super middleweight, though he noted that Morell's performance at light heavyweight hadn't been as impressive. Coldwell admitted uncertainty over who would win, but expressed anticipation for the contest, particularly with the change in weight division.
That's a fight that's going to probably endanger going under the radar, but what a good fight. If you don't know who David Morell is, go and watch him on YouTube. Very, very good fighter. Having said that, both fighters, for me, the best performance has been at super middleweight. Morell at super middleweight, unbelievable talent.
Leonard Ellerby expected the fight to be a thrilling, evenly matched contest, anticipating a back-and-forth battle with both fighters likely hitting the canvas early. He believed the trash talk leading up to the fight would only heighten the intensity, and the fans would ultimately be the real winners of the action-packed showdown.
I anticipated this to be a very, very, very 50-50 kind of fight. I expected somebody's gonna hit the canvas, and it probably might be early, and the other person might get hurt in the fight. It's gonna be a lot of ups and downs, ebbs and flows in this particular fight because both guys really, really want it bad, and want to make a big statement. It's gonna be a lot of trash talking with the build-up. So this is one of those kind of fights that the fans will actually win.
Mark Ramsey shared that predicting the fight's outcome was challenging. While Benavidez's power and speed were undeniable, Morell hadn't yet faced a fighter of Benavidez's caliber. Ramsey was eager to see how Morell would handle the pressure and whether he could rise to the occasion, making the fight even more intriguing.
I don't know yet how good is Morell exactly. I think we have a very clear idea who's Benavidez. He's physically strong, he can be fast. You have tendency to gas out in the second part of the fight. Like we know we have a big picture of who he is. In terms of Morell, I think a lot of things that we need to know, like under pressure, never fight a guy's the quality of Benavidez yet, and we will see if he crack under pressure or if he still can fight. This is very, very...
Moreover, Tim Bradley felt that Morell still needed more experience, expressing disappointment in his last performance. He saw Benavidez as the more versatile fighter, capable of both applying pressure and moving when needed. Bradley thought Morell would struggle against Benavidez's versatility, believing the former champion's diverse skill set would be too much for Morell.
I still think Morell still needs a little bit more seasoning, to be honest with you. I wasn't too fond of his last fight.
Part of why
I really was.
Benavidez. Yep.
Yeah, it wasn't too fond. Benavidez can do a little bit of everything. We only see him as being a pressure type of assassin type of guy, throwing quick combinations and really, just stepping on the gas and squashing guys. But he can move and box if he wants to as well. He can. I've seen him. So he has that degree. So he can do a little bit of everything in there, which makes me believe that Morell's gonna struggle against that, man. Morell, he likes guys that are pretty much stationary, man, in my opinion.
Lonnie B shared his insights on the fight between David Benavidez and David Morell, acknowledging that it would be a tough challenge for Benavidez. He praised Morell's skills, describing him as a large, smooth fighter with a dangerous Cuban boxing style. Lonnie B pointed out that Morell's ability to punch and move with excellent footwork made him a tricky opponent, even for someone as formidable as Benavidez. He noted that Morell's combination of offensive aggression and elusive movements would present significant difficulties for Benavidez, especially given Morell's ability for avoiding punishment while landing clean shots.
Tough fight. David Morell is really good. He's really, really good. Yeah, he's good. I can't even. He's good.
You're kind of giving me a face like you don't know who wins that fight.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh.
Because David Morell is big too. He's big for super middleweight too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's big. He can punch. He's slick. Real got that Cuban style. What he Cuban?
Yeah.
Like real slick.
But offensive with it.
Offensive with it. And those styles are tough for anybody to fight. for anybody to fight.
Even the Mexican monster,
Even
David Benavidez?
Lonnie B also highlighted the contrasting fighting styles between the two. While Benavidez uses his size and strength to wear down his opponents, he wasn't as slick or elusive as Morell. Lonnie B emphasized that Benavidez's approach of walking down his opponents might not be as effective against Morell, who possessed the ability to counterpunch and maneuver around the ring. With Morell's power added to the mix, Lonnie B believed it made the fight dangerous for Benavidez. In his view, it was a 50-50 fight.
Especially with Dave, with that style he got, David's really not slick. He just uses his size to wear guys down. He walk him down, and he's so big, you hitting him, but you really can't get him good because he's too big. You know what I'm saying? With David Morell, he would really have to worry about some heat coming back being thrown at him, and David Morell got real good feet. He got real good feet, so I think that would give David some trouble, and he can punch.
So would you favor David or Canelo in that sense? Oh, and I mean David as in Benavidez? No.
That's a 50-50 fight. David Morell and David Benavidez is a 50-50 fight.
Paulie Malignaggi felt that the most compelling fight in the weight class was between Benavidez and Morell. He felt both fighters were capable of beating Canelo, pointing out the disconnect between the financial dominance of certain fighters and the true talent in the sport.
But the biggest problem is this. All the money is in Canelo Alvarez, but the best fight is probably Benavidez versus Morell. You know what I mean? Like the best fight in terms of the top, who are actually the top two guys in this weight class are probably Benavidez and Morell. I think they both beat Canelo. You know, so it's funny because all the money's with Canelo, so everything revolves around Canelo. And this is why this sport is backwards.
David Benavidez himself explained that his fight with Morell had become personal for him. He revealed that he didn't like anyone he faced in the ring, and a little trash talk was all it took to get him fired up. Benavidez shared that Morell had been calling him out for 2 years, and he was determined to silence him once and for all.
It's because, like I said, bro, I really don't like anybody who I fight, you know, and it just takes a little bit of trash talk to really get me set off. But he's been talking a lot. He's been calling me out for 2 years, you know what I mean? So it's basically, you know what I mean, I'm gonna shut this guy up.
Benavidez further emphasized his 11 years of experience in the ring, which he believed gave him a significant advantage. He planned to use his skills to their fullest, throwing combinations from the start. Rather than aiming for a single knockout punch, Benavidez wanted to break Morell down with body shots, headshots, and uppercuts. He was confident that fans would see the best version of him when he unleashed his combinations.
You know what I mean, I have way more experience. The fight that did let my emotions get to me was Caleb Plant, but you know, you learn from the experience, and I intend to use my experience to the best of my advantage. This fight, we're gonna do different stuff. We're gonna be throwing combinations off the bat. And as soon as I let my combinations go, you see that the best David Benavidez gets seen. So
on the other hand, Morell expressed that the fight had also become personal for him, especially after the incident in Miami. He saw the fight as everything to him, a pivotal moment in his career. Morell emphasized his full focus and commitment, saying nothing was going to hold him back.
Before it's only business, but right now it's personal. After the Miami, it's personal 100%.
Take us back to the moment in Miami. You tossed the belt at your opponent's head. Things kind of boiled over. What does this fight mean to you, and how badly do you want to inflict pain on David Benavidez?
For me, it's everything. You know, it's the first door to my career, for the open, for the, you know, for the everything. You know, I come here and focus, bro. I come here and focus 100%. So I don't have nothing.
Jaron Boots Ennis saw the fight as a great contest, considering it a 50-50 or even 60-40 matchup. He expected an all-out war right from the start, with both fighters clearly not liking each other. Ennis gave the edge to Benavidez, mainly due to his experience, but he respected Morell as a great fighter.
You know, I think it's like 50-50 or 60-40. You know, it's a great fight. You know, I think, you know, it's going to be a barn burner from the rip. You know, I see that they don't like each other or nothing. So, I mean, we're going to get a war from round one to whenever it ends.
60-40 whose way?
I say Benavidez.
Experience?
Yeah, it's an experience, but Morell nice. I like Morell. You know, great fighter. You know, but I think you got to get an edge to Benavidez.
Shane McGuigan praised Morell for his exceptional skills and rapid rise in his career. However, he noted that Benavidez was a tough challenge. Known for his relentless aggression, combination punching, and tough style, McGuigan believed Benavidez's pressure would eventually wear Morell down, even if Morell had success early on. He also mentioned that Benavidez's toughness could be the deciding factor.
Brilliant.
What's his acid test? I know he stepped up very, very quickly. But Benavidez is someone that fights at pace, throws combinations, is in your face, can take a shot, he can dig. That slick Cuban style, like, he's going to suffocate that. He's going to suffocate him. Whether it'll be, he'll get pinged about for a few rounds, but I think he'll prevail and get to him. But I'm excited about it. I just think maybe there's a bit more dog in Benavidez.
Jesus Ramos praised both fighters for their skills, but pointed out that Morell lacked the professional experience that Benavidez brought to the ring. Ramos acknowledged Morell's talent and amateur experience, but believed Benavidez's previous battles with tough opponents like Andre Dirrell and Caleb Plant gave him a significant advantage. Ramos thought that Benavidez's experience in longer, harder fights would be the deciding factor, with Benavidez gradually taking control in the later rounds.
And all connections aside, all friendships aside, I like both guys. I like both guys' styles. I think they're both very exciting. I've learned a lot from Morell. He's a southpaw himself, and I've learned a couple things from him watching the fight. But I just feel like he's lacking the experience, that Benavidez already has. He fought Andrade, he fought Caleb Plant. Those are tough guys, man, and he beat them. And Morell, he's extremely talented. He's got a lot of amateur experience, but I still feel like, I think he kind of showed it in that last fight where he needs that pro experience. He needs a tricky, cagey guy to take him some rounds, because he got a little frustrated there, in that last fight. So I still feel like he lacks that.
Ramos gave the edge to Benavidez, believing his experience and ability to handle tough rounds would lead him to victory as the fight progressed.
And I feel like Benavidez has been there and he has done that. So I think that I give the edge to Benavidez in that aspect. And I feel like Morell might come out strong, but I see Benavidez edging that out in the later rounds.
Elijah Vines expressed his belief that Benavidez would dominate the fight, even though he liked both fighters' styles and personalities. Vines, who resonated with Benavidez's boxer-puncher style, felt that Benavidez's experience and skills would be too much for Morell. While acknowledging Morell's talent, Vines was confident that Benavidez would control the fight and ultimately win.
I think Benavidez I always liked Benavidez. Always liked him. So I feel like
that's because you're a boxer puncher. You love boxer punches.
Absolutely, but I don't know. I can resonate with him. Like, I like his style. I like his personality. You know what I mean? I feel like that's going to be a good fight. But I feel like Benavidez is going to dominate.
Dominate?
Dominate, yeah. Some people might call me crazy because I had this conversation, but I don't know. I see a lot of stuff. I see a lot of things that Benavidez is going to be able to execute with a fight.
Elijah Vines also predicted that Benavidez wouldn't stop Morell, but would dominate the majority of the rounds. While Morell might have some success in moments, Vines believed Benavidez's overall strength and skill would shine through. He foresaw the fight going the distance, with Benavidez securing a unanimous decision victory.
I don't think he's going to stop him. I think he's going to dominate majority of the rounds, not all the rounds, but I feel like he will dominate, but it's going to be by unanimous decision.
Darren Barker remarked that Morell had a lot to prove following his recent performances, and the fight with Benavidez was the perfect opportunity for him to showcase his best. Barker called it an exciting matchup between two rising stars with the potential to become major names in boxing. He emphasized that much was at stake, and the fight had the potential to become a memorable classic.
To a fight, it's against Benavidez. It really is. It's a cracker. It's a cracker. It's a fantastic fight. Two of the best upcoming fighters, I think you could say, two fighters that could be making a case for them being one of the big stars, one of the big faces of boxing this year, next year, and for a few years to come. So an awful lot on the line, a big responsibility on both of their shoulders, but stylistically I think this gels, and it won't take long for this to really catch fire. And
Joe Gallagher recognized Morell's impressive Cuban boxing skills and knockout power, but felt Benavidez's speed, experience, and the fight's significance would likely give him the upper hand. Gallagher acknowledged that Morell was a tough opponent, but he believed Benavidez's strengths would be the key to victory.
A good fighter. He's been around a very long time, not had many fights, but come through well. Good Cuban, good puncher, and Benavidez, and that's a good test for Benavidez. And for you're seeing he isn't in awe of Benavidez. Morell, he's a very good fighter, good puncher, but I just think Benavidez' speed of hand and the occasion and that experience most probably give him the upper hand.
Jesse Hart pointed out weaknesses in Morell's last fight, especially his tendency to slow down after the 9th round. Hart noted that Morell could be vulnerable to clean shots if an opponent timed their strikes right. He also expressed concerns about Morell's habits outside the ring and wondered if they could catch up to him. Hart was closely watching to see if Morell had improved and believed Benavidez could exploit these weaknesses.
Dave Morell, I'm looking, has he grown? Can we get him? That last fight, I seen a lot of weaknesses in him, a lot of weaknesses. I'm looking at have he grown from that fight that he went 12 rounds for the first time in his ever career. You know what I mean? Around the 9th, I seen he start slowing down. I seen you can touch him on his chin. You can clip him if you get him at the right time. He slows down around about the 9th round. And David Benavidez, his living habits outside the ring, did that catch up to him? I'm watching for all that. And I'll be looking February 1st to see if my predictions is right.
Steven Edwards praised Morell's strength and size, noting he had been impressed by the Cuban fighter. However, he pointed out that Morell's size advantage at 168 pounds had helped him dominate smaller opponents, limiting his ability to show off his full boxing IQ and skill set. Edwards believed Morell hadn't been tested enough to demonstrate his adaptability and strategic thinking.
I'm very impressed with David Morell, but he kind of relies on his forcefulness, his strength, his size. I mean, he's way too big to be fighting 68 pounds. I've been around, he's a big guy, you know, so I'm very, very impressed with him. But a lot of the guys he's been fighting are so much smaller than he is where he doesn't have to go into his bag of tricks and rely on other things like his IQ and things like that. And I'm not saying he doesn't have it, but I haven't seen it yet.
Demetrius Andrade shared his perspective on Morell, acknowledging that he hadn't seen enough of his fights to fully assess his abilities. He noted Morell's size and decent speed, but felt that Morell could be a bit wild with his punches. Andrade believed Morell's technique would improve as he gained more experience, but he emphasized the need for Morell to tighten up his technique at the elite level.
It's tough because I haven't really watched David Morell fight by fight. I don't, to really see what he has. I seen maybe like 1 or 2 of his fights. I was like, okay, he's a big kid. He got some decent speed, but he's a little wild with his punches. You know, that comes with experience, of course, when he'll start tightening it up. Is he tight right now?
David Benavidez's sparring partner described him as an unyielding fighter who always presses forward, applying constant pressure and relentlessly throwing punches. He highlighted Benavidez's ability to absorb hits and continue advancing, asserting that everyone would witness just how unique Benavidez was. The sparring partner referred to him as a monster and confidently predicted that Benavidez would knock Morell out, likely before the 10th round.
David's a guy that comes forward, pressure, throw punches. He can take the punches. So I'm telling you, everyone will see it February 1st. David is different. He's just a monster.
What round? It sounds like you think he stops him.
Oh yeah, he's definitely, mark my words, David's gonna knock the fuck out of Morell. I think under 10 rounds. I don't know, but it's gonna happen. Inevitable.
Showbiz the Adult believed Morell would put up an incredible fight. He thought that David Benavidez wasn't being fully understood by the public and had a lot more skill than people realized. Showbiz saw Benavidez as a highly skilled fighter with fast hands, great combinations, and a smart, methodical approach to breaking opponents down. His defense was also better than most gave him credit for.
David Morell is going to put up one hell of a fight. I just think David Benavidez is not what people think he is. I see a highly skilled fighter with good fluidity in his punches and his moves. The guy, to me, is one of the best fighters in the world. And I'm talking about skill-wise. Like, he got fast hands. He throws great flurries. He knows how to break you down systematically. His defense is far better than people give him credit. Him against Oleksandr Volcik, I was like, brother, this guy looks great, right? He just need more time at 175, which I think he got.
So what are your thoughts on this? Who are you supporting and what you expected from the fight? We would love to hear your thoughts, so make sure to like, subscribe, and comment if you really enjoyed the video.